massive day for the unemployed. CDPR finally breaks their silence and gives us some new information about what's happening with The Witcher 4. You know, The Witcher 4, the absolute up-and-coming disaster because CDPR is well and totally completely dead and converted into an activist company. Yes, that one. And if you don't know anything about that, well, that means that you just missed my video from 3-4 days ago when we looked at what CDPR is hiring. And the people CDPR is hiring is it's some of the it's bad. Okay, one word. It's bad. It's real bad. 2 words. Okay, it's not looking good. They're hiring literal activists, people who worked at such gyms as Mass Effect Andromeda. So many people who just have the right politics instead of actually, experience making video games. So, if you had any hopes for The Witcher 4, congratulations. It's gonna be bad. A lot of people have already given up on the idea that it's gonna be good. I mean, you just have to go back to the Witcher 4 tech demo. You know, the thing that was not supposed to convince you that it's actually how the Witcher 4 is gonna look. Yeah, but the guy with the, controller pretending to play the game, who knows how he got there? Surely the CDPR didn't try and lie to you. The company that literally a company that has an inclusivity and diversity page that's literally bigger than any other page on their website, may I add. Surely they didn't try to dupe you, cheat you, and make you believe a falsehood. Surely not, never.
The Witcher 4 just got some new details, and the absolute silence from CD Projekt Red has been broken in the best way possible. We just got some new details on how exactly this game is going to play, and if you thought it was just going to be a simple graphic upgrade for The Witcher 3, you are dead wrong. The latest episode of the Official Answered podcast dropped a ton of details regarding the game's combat, the animation, and the exploration systems that are all being rebuilt from the ground up in the custom.
I absolutely, by the way, loved I loved the initial trailer that they lost. How Ciri looks like a man. Beautiful. The jaw, the everything. Oh, it's poetry, okay? It's coding poetry. And how the whole trailer was revolving around the fact that she's the smartest and every man who says anything to her is just stupid and bad. Man, do we need to go over again all the stuff that we currently know about Ciri? I'll give you the summary in case you have missed it. Ciri is evil. She legitimately does not possess a single heroic trait. Now, granted, Geralt of Rivia wasn't exactly, your typical-esque type of hero, but at least he wasn't an evil person. Ciri, with everything that we know from the gameplay showcases that they have done and things that they have said, she's evil. She is flat out evil. She doesn't care about human life. She literally just wants to kill monsters. She doesn't care about any of that. She just doesn't want you to talk down to her because how dare you talk down to a strong, independent woman? Yeah, it's bad. It is really bad.
Some version of Unreal Engine 5 they're developing. And we're talking everything from completely revamped traversal mechanics.
Yeah, this is where she goes full-on Slay Queen and tells, how dare you not do with everything I told you to? Even though I could have stopped everything of this, yet I took no absolute action at any point when it was appropriate, and I just kind of waited to see what happens for no reason. But you're all wrong, evil men. Also, in this trailer, you can literally see that the men are dirty, toothless. They literally look like Asmongold. While all the women are kind of like, even the old ones, kind of look a little bit pristine, They're clean, they're this, they're that. It's really interesting.
Mechanics, next-gen performance capture, in a world that is more interactable than ever before. So let's go ahead and start off with the absolute meat and potatoes of this update. Yeah, we're talking potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Okay, I might be watching a little too much Lord of the Rings lately, but alas, let's talk about the combat and movement. If you go back and play The Witcher 3 again, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing to prep for the hopeful DLC, I'm doing it myself, but as much as we love it, the combat does show its age. Now, Geralt is heavy, his pirouettes lock you into long animations. When you cast a sign, it just kind of breaks up the overall fluidity in the combat, but that is all changing with The Witcher 4.
I mean, best he can do is create a little bit of spark city though, master of all 4 elements. It's so fucking crazy.
The podcast gave us some insight into how Ciri will handle in combat, and it revolves around a system of layered simultaneous actions. The developers confirm that Ciri will be able to cast a spell with her hand while it tracks a monster, and then at the exact same time, she can be walking, shifting her way, or even blinking seamlessly, which sounds like music to my ears. You're
Wait, what? She can still blink? I did not know that.
longer going to be like forced to, you know, kind of stop a bit whenever you throw up your Quinn
We thought that that's completely over. What the hell?
shield or blast an enemy with Igni. So Ciri will be able to like weave the magical abilities into her swordplay without like ever breaking her stride. So the fluidity of this game should be off the charts. And speaking of flow, we finally have confirmation on the heavily requested feature, a dedicated jump button that actually works when you need it to. Now, before you say anything, before you call me a fraud, obviously The Witcher 3 had jumping, but that was mainly for exploration. As soon as you pulled out your sword or stuff like that, Geralt literally forgot how to leave the ground. Like, he was pretty much glued to the floor during combat, obviously.
Based, he knows that jumping is pretty stupid.
Like, you could roll and then you could dodge, but apart from that, you couldn't, like, you know, fully jump during combat. Now, the animation team explicitly talked about the intense focus on the jump animations and how they need to be incredibly responsive to player input. Now, the dev was, you know, talking in generalities about the animation and how it has to be responsive, so we don't know if
I mean, the woman that just, you know, tells, no, you stupid man, you don't get to say things. God, I love it. Also, again, just compare. Just compare. Look at this absolute man jaw and how she looks here. Now, this is very in line with what I talked about CDPR a couple of days ago, because they're hiding wokeness, okay? They are hiring people with extremely woke political pandering backgrounds. But all of those people are like getting hired, and then they're like, oh, poof, I'm a normal person. We looked at their community managers, people who were previously called out for being insane. And now they're like, they changed their hair colors and stuff like that. It's like, the CDPR is trying to hide the wokeness so unbelievably hard. It's actually insane. And you know it never works out, okay? Yeah, you can't fix the problem unless you just blacklist these people and fire them. And that hasn't happened. In fact, CDPR just keeps on hiring more and more and more of them. At this point, I would not be surprised if they announce that they're hiring all of the Dragon Age Veilguard team.
talking in generalities about the animation and how it has to be responsive, so we don't know if like the jump button will be working in combat as well, which I imagine it would be. Like every other aspect that they're talking about, they want everything to feel fluid. It just makes a lot more sense for them to have a dedicated jump button along with like the blinking. And I think just overall having the, you know, jump button that's dedicated during combat is going to change the overall like enemy design and how we encounter them. It opens up the possibility of verticality. Like imagine we're, you know, fighting this giant beast of a creature and then we have to like leap over the sweeping attacks, or even like have to jump into the air to then strike down a monster that you're fighting. Now, on the topic of movement and fluidity, to support all of this, the foundational movement of the game.
God, I remember during the fake show gameplay showcase when they talked about the horse. Dude, that horse has more realism than real horses, okay? That horse has more realistic everything than real horses at this point. God, it was so fake. It was so hilarious.
And fluidity. To support all of this, the foundational movement of the game is getting a massive overhaul in Unreal Engine 5. The developers noted that in Cyberpunk 2077, the combat locomotion consisted of 80 different animations, but for The Witcher 4, they're pushing for even more to ensure super realism. In the podcast, they confirmed that more than 80 different animations are there just for moving around. That means whenever you turn slightly, Ciri doesn't just awkwardly snap into place, she shifts her weight, her boots dig into the mud, and her momentum is carrying it through. Like, it's aiming for, like I said, high.
Yeah, we kind of expected that. I mean, it's a triple A studio at the end of the day. We expected at least that much.
Realism for this game, similar to the weightiness of Red Dead Redemption 2, but obviously maintaining the snappy and responsive action that an RPG requires. Now let's talk about some details that we have regarding the performance capture for this game, because according to the developers, the tech that they're using is going to change how we experience the story. Geralt of Rivia is a gaming icon. Let's be real for a second. His stoic, emotionless demeanor was also a very convenient crutch for older animation, and because he rarely showed like extreme emotion, the animators didn't really have to worry about his complex facial rendering. But Ciri, on the other hand, is a completely different story, they said. The team confirmed that they are using Unreal Engine 5 to push it to its absolute limits to capture even micro expressions. They noted that while Geralt was
Micro expression. Yep. I mean, you did a great job here.
intentionally toned down, Ciri's facial expressions in the Unreal Fest demo were incredibly animated and playful, which this is a massive shift. Ciri feels everything. She carries the weight of the world. She experiences joy, fear, deep sorrow. And to capture all of it, the studio is utilizing cutting-edge technology to record the actor's face, voice, and the full body movement all at the exact same time. So why does all of this matter? Well,
You know what's the craziest thing? Drew, why does all of this matter? Why the fuck is she even actually mad that someone died? We know from further things shown to us that Ciri literally does not give a shit if humans die. She just does not care. But here she's like angry? Is she angry because it's a female? Why?
so why does all of this matter? Well, it just creates better quality, but I mean, that's kind of the short answer. Well, previously studios would record voice in a booth, and then they would, a different actor would do the body movements and they mocap suit later. But that of course created a slight disconnect, obviously would require a lot of like perfecting. Studios like Rockstar are straight kings at this stuff, so it's not really an issue with them. But by capturing everything simultaneously, the emotion is perfectly
People thought that this shit is real.
synced. So when Ciri shows emotion, like we will see that on the screen this time. The podcast then spent a lot of time discussing the uncanny valley, which that is the idea that ultra realistic graphics look creepy if the animations don't perfectly match. And by utilizing the simultaneous performance capture with the voiceover and stuff like that, The Witcher 4 is aiming to deliver Sony first party levels of cinematic quality. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't mention Sony as well. They're absolute experts at it. There's also like Resident Evil Requiem has been so stellar with the performance capture and stuff, but I really like that fact.
Has it?
That they're really focusing on that for this game. I'm just thinking of like a cutscene where you're trying to figure out if a dude is lying to you, but then you look at his character animations and you could see his expression and he's very clearly lying, and you could call him out on that. Like, that would be insane. I don't know if it's going to go to that level of detail, but it would be cool if it does. Now, the upgrades that they talked about don't stop at the main character, obviously. The open world is being treated with an insane level of detail. The developers confirm that they're putting massive amounts of work into the open world with the goal of creating unique and highly interactable one-off moments that make the environment feel truly alive. Now, The Witcher 3's world is obviously incredible, but they weren't as interactable as they could have been, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do to really innovate on that. But now this brings us to the NPCs. Now, in a lot of open world games, NPCs are just there as like dressing. They're there to like fill in and make it feel alive and whatnot. You usually see the same 5 character models walking around in the same circles, but The Witcher 4 is shattering that because the team highlighted a specific example from their tech demo where they showcased the NPC missing a leg and navigating the village on crutches. Now, the dev said that that wasn't just a detail, it completely changes the animation rigging. The way the character walks, reacts, and evades danger is all entirely unique. If a pack of wolves attacks the village, the guy on crutches isn't going to break into a
Will a pack of wolves attack the village? Really?
full sprint, obviously, he's gonna struggle and he's gonna have a bad time. Now, obviously in the demo, there was also the section where the dude was like at his like little shop and he was like selling fish and he was doing the animations and it just looked so incredibly detailed. I just don't see how that translates into the final game. Like, obviously they could pull it off, but it's gonna take so long. It really feels like they're biting off more than they can chew, but again, if anyone's gonna pull it off, it's probably them or Rockstar, which Rockstar's already kind of doing it. Now back on.
Why would CDPR be magically capable of pulling this off? I'm slightly a lot confused here. Why would CDPR be capable to pull it off? With the Red engine, their in-house engine that they made Cyberpunk on? Sure. But Unreal Engine 5, why the fuck would you assume this? Like, why? Why are we giving CDPR this Rockstar detail level of cred? Why? I'm confused. Well, when did we start doing this? For what reason exactly?
The topic of, you know, the exploration and the abilities in this game, we have fantastic news. Swimming underwater is officially back, hashtag confirmed. When the devs were talking about the complexity of layering animations, they explicitly mentioned having the account for situations like what if she's underwater, which makes sense. I didn't think that she wouldn't be able to go underwater. I think it's kind of obvious here. Okay, so now let's shift focus and talk about the reveal timeline because the marketing pieces are finally falling into place, it seems like, and this summer is looking absolutely stacked. So we know for a fact that The Witcher 4 is going to be back for Unreal Fest in June. Epic Games is essentially using CD Projekt Red as their crown jewel as a way to showcase what Unreal Engine 5 is truly capable of.
Oh boy, can't wait for another fake gameplay showcase.
So with that being said, we are guaranteed to get a ton of technical news, like some, you know, hopefully juicy visual demos. But now this is where it gets pretty interesting because with the game making a massive appearance at Unreal Fest in June, well, that leaves the door wide open for the next revealed trailer at Summer Game Fest with Jeff Keighley. Jeff and CD Projekt Red have had a fantastic relationship.
I don't care, especially about this dude. Like, who honestly cares? But Jeff Keighley, of all people, on Holy actually has to say about this situation. Like, this is the guy who tried to sell us the idea that High is gonna be the next big thing. I don't know about you, but I don't think it was the next big thing exactly. Also, what's happening here? Hello? Well, anyways, that's pretty much it, I guess. We're just gonna have to wait and see, and then it's gonna be it. Did they actually reveal too much yet? Don't exactly feel like it. There's a couple of things, but in any case, yeah. That was West Nemo, 10 out of 10. Bye.